So this is the part where I tell you not a whole bunch happened this week, but we go ahead and talk for about 20 minutes anyway, so let's go ahead and get to it. Hey, what's up, bookworms? Mike back with another weekly update where we talk about what happened last week, what's going to happen next week, but mostly just what happened this week. That's why we call it the weekly update. But let's get into it, guys. Lots of things going on the channel, but not as much as usual, like I kind of alluded to there. But before we begin, as always, end up in the subscriber count, angling towards 20,000. It doesn't look like we're going to stop before we get there, so that's really awesome. Also, I want to encourage you to join the Discord. That good old Great Coats read-along starts in a week. So if you want to jump on the Discord and be able to discuss with people as we read along, I suggest you drop into the comments below or the description below and click the link to join the Discord. And as always, if you like the channel and you want to help out, you can think about donating to the Patreon. But of course, that is not expected or necessary. But let's get into this week, guys. First up, what am I reading? What did I read? What am I going to read? First off, I finished The Emerald Storm, which is Riyria Revelations number 4. And I talked last week where I kind of gushed about it. And then I realized, hey, book 4 is the first book where I wasn't really wild about it. It actually had its first kind of part of a kind of sloggy stuff to it. And it's okay. In book 4 of a 6-book series, you might have found some slower arcs that didn't work for you or something like that. I just expect it right after I spent, 3 minutes gushing about it on the last weekly update. But the thing is I felt like this was the first time that the main duo had the least interesting story of all the characters in the book. Rista's stuff really shined this book. So take that for what you will. I don't know when I'm going to get into Heir of Novron, which is the 3rd omnibus, as we get closer to this read along, and we're getting closer to Horror Month, which I'll talk about in a minute. But also, guys, I don't know if you remember, I'm doing Stormlight in September. It's going to be all Stormlight Archive stuff in September. And if you know those books, you know there's an awful lot to talk about. So those videos are going to require quite a lot of brain power. So I don't know how much I'll be able to kind of get through on the schedule. Want to make sure that I'm keeping this read along and keeping Horror Month in my targets here. So everything is nice and clear for Rhythm of War in November. But what else? I'm still stuck on Witcher. I know that you guys voted that you really wanted me to keep going with Witcher. Man, I've heard so many people say Time of Contempt was maybe their favorite Witcher book, and I am just struggling. I'm at like the 45% mark, and it's just okay. I feel like Geralt has become like a background character at this point, and I don't know. I think that Yennefer's a great character. I like Ciri. I love Dandelion. I like all these characters. It's just, I don't know. It's like I didn't expect The Witcher to disappear from the Witcher books. So it's kind of where I'm at with it. I will finish it. I will finish the series. It keeps finding itself getting kind of benched for whatever else I'm reading. And since I did that and I am ahead of schedule and I didn't want to start the Great Coats a little earlier than I expected, I started reading the first book for the Halloween Fright Fest 2020 is what I'm calling it. And of course, with Ray Bradbury's Something Wicked This Way Comes. I have read this before when I was a teenager. I saw the movie when I was very young, and it scared the hell out of me. Mr. Dark, like, haunted my dreams as a child. And so I read the book when I was about 13, liked it quite a bit, but something that I'm realizing reading it now as an adult is something that I never appreciated as a teenager like I do now, is just how good of a writer Ray Bradbury actually was. It's just a sweeping, beautiful prose. And it's the kind of thing, like I said, when I was a teenager, all I cared about was if the characters were good and if the story was good. I didn't care about your writing style, anything like that. As long as it was like coherent, I was cool with it. But man, his prose is beautiful, and it makes me just want to reread Fahrenheit 451, reread Martian Chronicles, all kinds of things that I think I've probably read 5 books total by him, and I've liked them all. Can't think of them off the top of my head, but this is one that has always stuck with me because I loved that movie when I was a kid, and when I read the book, I loved it even more. So yeah, it's really cool getting to it at this age and seeing just how much differently you approach these things now, when I can relate more with the dad than I can the kids. Kind of like something I said with our Stephen King books is, like reading it, I related so much to the younger kids portion of the book, and then I read it again as an adult, and I really could relate to the adult portion. I kind of feel the same way with this Elder Holloway. Is actually this stuff is interesting me quite a bit more than it did as a kid, where all I wanted was, you know, Will and Jim when I was a kid. So this is a very, very intriguing read. About a third through that already, but that is the beginning of horror month, which I'm not going to talk about too much. I get people every day ask me, when are you going to give your schedule for horror month? When it gets closer to horror month. I mean, we're still in July, you know, and that's not until August, or it's not until October. So it wouldn't be coming before September, guys. Sorry, it's just I'd like to get it somewhat close, or else I'm just going to get everybody asking me, hey, what's on it again? And I'm going to have to keep referring them to a 3-month-old video, and they'll be like, why'd you put it out then? So there you go. If you are on the Discord, I probably will let you know some of the ones that I'm doing. All the patrons already know all the books that I'm going to be covering for horror month, but just know it's going to be a lot. So that is why I am reading some so early. I'm going to read some more of the Lovecraft again, which are all rereads. Dracula, Frankenstein, stuff like that's all going to be rereads. So I am starting it a little early because October basically is going to have a video almost every day. So I need to make sure I have this stuff read before we get there. So that's why it's going to kind of, you'll see a horror title kind of sneak into it here as we go along. But then after I finish this, it is going to be the Great Coats Read Along. Trader's Blade starts August the 1st. So guys, there's still time. I believe it's back in stock. The physical copies are back in stock on Amazon. And if not, like I said, click that link, man. It's just $14 for the whole series on Kindle if you have a digital reader. So there you go. That is where we're at. Now, this week on the channel, it was kind of slow. It was kind of slow. I'll talk about that when I get to the end of the video here, talk about why. I only did 2 videos. I did my first tier list video, which was for Wheel of Time. Here's the thing, is I had planned on ranking the Wheel of Time books eventually. I said I wanted to give it a couple of months after I finished. It turned out to be like almost exactly 3 months since I finished A Memory of Light. Want to let those things kind of marinate, let things settle, and then kind of look at it and say where I would place everything. And I was just going to do the traditional 14, counting down all the way to 1. And like I joked about in that video, people were like, hey, old man, catch up with the times. People do tier lists now. They don't do countdowns. So I did my first tier list. It seemed to be received very well. The thing is now I've got everybody asking me to do a tier list for just about everything. If that becomes a thing, it will be like once every few months. You won't be seeing me doing like, hey, here's my favorite types of font or something like that, like I see some of these tier lists to get to. But I will be doing one because I'm going to be ranking Dresden Files after I finish Battleground. So I'll probably be doing that one next. But I've had requests to go do First Law. I'm like, guys, I've already ranked the First Law books. You can find those on the channel. I would feel really redundant if I did those again. But I'll tell you what, the deal I'll make is that going forward, anytime I'm doing a ranking, I'll do that instead of just a straight countdown, if that's what people like. Maybe I'll do my year end. Here's all the books I read this year, and I can do something like that. And that would be a really long video because I'm like almost over 50 books already. So there we go. But check out that video if you want to know how I place the Wheel of Time books. Interesting conversation. What I love about that series, guys, is no 2 people have the exact same tier list, I don't think. So it's quite remarkable. Like the books I have at the very top, a lot of people are like, oh, that's like in C or D for me. And some of the ones I got in D, they got up in A. So I mean, that's what's great about the series. It has a little something for everyone, and not everything clicks for everybody. So again, that's what I think makes the series great. And there are no wrong answers in a tier list, in my opinion. I also continue my Into the Multiverse. I did a video for Cujo. I know that Stephen King stuff does matter on this channel if it isn't The Dark Tower, but that is a passion project of mine. I'm going to keep doing Stephen King content. It is doing better than it used to do, but it's never going to be something that I feel like, oh, hey, there's the Stephen King guy. No, right now it's like casual still think of me as like the Wheel of Time or fantasy guy, which is weird. Now it's kind of Dresden guy. But anyhow, I am going to keep doing King content. I'm going to keep going through the multiverse. If it had picked up steam, I plan on maybe trying to do 2 per month instead of 1 per month. So I'm not still doing this 5 years from now. But again, you got to do what your audience wants. Stay on brand. That is my mantra. So look for the one for the Gunslinger coming next month, and I think that will do a little better because my Why You Should Read the Dark Tower video is still doing really well. People seem to be very interested in that. Again, fantasy does the best on my channel. That's why I'm kind of scared about this horror month thing, but we'll get into that at another time. Next week, I would also be on the lookout for my review of Shadows of Self, as I am almost finished up with Era 2 of Mistborn. I kind of talked about my thoughts on that book briefly. And I will also be going back to my unpopular opinion series. I did one unpopular opinion video, and it was why I didn't love The Name of the Wind. And I still get, let's just say, I get like mean comments on that at least a few dozen times per day still. So that video still is generating a lot of interest and conversation and mostly insults. And I get that. So it's an unpopular opinion for a reason, right? So this one, I'm going to focus on classic books that I just didn't love. Books that everybody says, oh, you have to read it before you die because it's just an amazing book. And then you read it and you're kind of like, why is it a classic? Just because somebody said so? So I'll be getting into that. It is sure to get a lot of disagreements, or I don't know. Like I said, fantasy is what really pays the bills, so to speak, on this channel. But you know, I like to branch out more and talk about some more things and some classics. Reading Bradbury made me think about, I want to talk about more classics on the channel. So there we go. Be on the lookout for that sometime next week. Let's move away from books here for a second. There's a couple of movie things I want to talk about. We finally watched the movie Parasite. I believe it won the Oscar for Best Movie. I don't know, Best Director or something like that. Anyway, I'd heard about it for a long time. And I think the thing that really caught me off guard with this movie is it was not what I was expecting at all. I think it's because the way that people recommended it to me is I thought it was horror, because the Japanese and Korean horror market is absolutely destroying the American one right now. They still believe in making stuff scary as shit over there. Here we got the MPAA, the Motion Picture Association of America, which will say you can't have this, you can't have this, you can't have this, it's too disturbing. We're going to make the movie X-rated or NC-17, and they know that they'll never ever even get it released to theaters, so they have to get it marked down till it gets to an R rating. It seems like the stuff over there, they don't care as much. They still want to scare people. So I went into this assuming that it was a horror movie, and I guess you'd say it has like some thriller elements to it. It does have, you know, some hold your breath moments in it, but it was almost kind of like a comedy thriller. Is that fair? Because I feel like there was a lot of humor in it. Things did get serious, obviously, in the last act of the movie, but the first half, I felt like it was a lot of laughs. It was kind of like a long con kind of movie. But here's the thing: it's a great movie. It really was. I do feel like it probably could have been a little shorter. I think it needed to be 2 hours and 20 minutes. But it was a great movie, and it's the first time I feel like something that's gotten praise from critics I've actually agreed with. I haven't agreed with movie critics on just about anything for the last 5 or 6 years, so it's rare now that I find one that I kind of agree with critics on. It was a really, really good movie, and I would recommend it to anyone, no matter what you're into, because I feel like it's got a little bit of something for everyone. Obviously, it's subtitled if you're in the States. Again, you're watching a booktube channel, which is about reading, so I don't think you should be against reading if it's some subtitles. And watch Dark, damn it, I'm still going to keep beating that drum. Hey, Stephen King tweeted about Dark today, about how awesome it is, so check it out. But yeah, Parasite, thumbs up. I definitely recommend it. I'm ashamed it took me this long to watch it. I had a really good time with it. We both enjoyed it. Me and my wife have been using like quotes for a couple days now. It's kind of fun. Also in movies, a ton of movies got delayed because of the virus that shall not be named. And it's not surprising. I mean, when they moved movies from May to July, I was like, what do you plan is going to change by then? You know, so a lot of them just kind of got pushed off the calendar until 2021. And I really started saying, some of these movies are going to have to be released video on demand, or to even make a profit, or even to make any of their money back. Because think of, like, Nolan is pushing really hard to get Tenet out in theaters. And I was like, if it comes out and they tell you you can only have audiences at 25% capacity because everybody's got to sit 8 feet apart, 8 seats apart, 6 feet, 8 seats, I don't know, whatever the rules are you really have a chance to make your money back on that movie? I mean, I've already heard that the projections that movie had to make like 800 million just to break even or something. So it's like, I feel like they're going to have to release video on demand. People are stuck in their house right now. They're bored. They will buy your movie video on demand. They're afraid of piracy and things like that. That's still going to be such a small little trickle, though. That is a smaller number than the people that will not go to the theaters and see the movies while all this is going on. So I really think, like, Wonder Woman needs to come out video on demand. Black Widow needs to come out on Disney Plus. Yes, it does. Think how many people would subscribe to Disney Plus just to watch Black Widow. That's just my opinion. I think some of these got to come out video on demand. But I am still very sad that Dune is most likely going to get delayed. It hasn't been officially announced yet. But Dune's going to get pushed back, and I won't lie. Dune is one I do want to see on the big screen and with the theater sound. I don't want to just watch that on my home theater, which I love. I love my home theater, but it's not the cinema. I'm not even going to pretend that it's the cinema. I want to see Denny's vision on that screen, you know. So I'm fine with them delaying that because I want to see that in Super HD IMAX or something. So I want to see that in the theater. So I'm okay with that one getting delayed, even though it breaks my heart, because when it was first announced, I felt like it's never going to get here. And now, who knows? Why I've been so busy this week, is I decided to pick up some of my games. Here's the thing. Kids are at grandma's. Grandma, she takes them for a few days every month. So we said, hey, it's a good time to catch up on some of these games. So wife and I started playing Borderlands 3 again for the first time since it was first released. It just kind of got lost in the shuffle, and we played it like crazy for the last few days. So I felt like a teenager the last few days, where basically you get up, you eat, you play games, you eat lunch, you play games, yeah, you have dinner, you play games, you think, okay, it's time to go to bed, and you do that for about an hour, and then you think, you know what, I'm gonna go play more games. That's kind of how we've been the last couple of days. So it's kind of felt absolutely juvenile in the last few days, just playing nothing but Borderlands. And then when she wants to take a break, I've been playing Shadow of the Tomb Raider. I love the rebooted Tomb Raider series. I've loved Tomb Raider since it first came out in PS1, the very first game. So I've been following that series for quite a while, and I think that rebooted series is fantastic. Shadow is just one that just it came out when I was having a really tough time in some classes at school, and it just kind of got, you know, pushed onto the backlog. But playing it now is every bit as good as Rise of the Tomb Raider and just the Tomb Raider reboot game. So I recommend those. Great. A lot of people have been telling me that they're free on, is it either Ubisoft's platform or is it Game Pass? I don't know. I still buy games like an idiot. So there we go. That's what I've been playing. But here's the thing about games. I'm thinking about trying No Man's Sky again. Here's the thing. No Man's Sky was a game that it's become like a meme at this point. But here's the thing. In 2016, leading up to this, for like 2 years, I followed this game, and I could not wait. It seemed like everything a absolute space nerd like myself could ever want. I was so excited about this game, came out, lied to myself for about 3 days and said it was good, and then realized this is an empty, boring, bland-ass game. It is just a simulator that doesn't have anything appealing about it. It looks drab. It has no fun mechanics to it. And I just forgot about it. And here's the thing is, Hello Games could have just, you know, folded up their tent, took their money, and ran. But what they decided to do was to keep working on the game. They kept building on it. And 4 years later, they're still adding stuff to it. And they haven't charged anybody a nickel for it. Every single download content they put out has been free. They have not charged anybody for anything. And I was watching a Let's Play of it yesterday, of the new, I guess, a new expansion pack they put out yesterday, and I don't think yesterday, it was like last week or something. I just heard about it yesterday. But here's the thing, it looks like a completely different game. It actually looks like the game that they promised when it came out. It's had a complete graphics overhaul. The UI is completely redone. The point of view is different. There's actually a living, breathing world on these planets now. You can actually make space stations, build forts, all kinds of stuff. It looks absolutely incredible. So I'm thinking I'm going to give it another try. That game has been collecting dust for 4 years. I put it in to do the update, and it was like 48 gigs of updates or something. So it was quite a big update, and it took about 2 hours to download it. But I haven't started all. I want to finish Shadow of the Tomb Raider, and I want to finish playing Borderlands with my wife. But that is something I'm going to give a try again, and I hope it's actually the game that I thought it was going to be when it came out. And guys, that is my week. What have you been doing? What are you up to? What are you playing? What are you listening to? What are you reading? What are you watching? No wrong answers. Drop in the comments below. Let me know what you are up to. And if you play the new No Man's Sky, let me know what you think. I would love some feedback from people that I know and trust. So do that, and have yourself a great weekend, guys.